Hey everybody, this is Kyle from the Tumbling Saber Podcast, and you're listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. Now here's your host, Tim McMahon.
That's my jacket. Oh. No. Keep it, it suits you.
So I'm just about caught up with all the Star Wars news I missed out on in the last 3 weeks. In fact, I just got around to reading all of the Vanity Fair articles online today. I know, I'm such a slacker, right? Anyway, in that magazine, there were some quotes from director Rian Johnson that grabbed my attention. In reference to writing Episode 8, he said, quote, JJ and Larry and Michael set everybody up in a really evocative way in 7 and started them on a trajectory. I guess I saw it as the job of the middle chapter to challenge all of those characters. Let's see what happens when we knock the stool out from under them. He then went on to say, I started by writing the names of each character down and thinking, what's the hardest thing they could be faced with, unquote. Well, I know this passage has sparked a lot of conversation online, and I've already seen other Star Wars podcasters devote episodes to this. So I'm going to jump on this bandwagon and talk about this topic with my patented less than 12 parsecs sense of flair. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. Alright, if I was Rian Johnson and I was setting out to make The Last Jedi, and this was my starting point, what challenges would I put in front of all of our favorite heroes? And villains, for that matter. Here we go. Rey. Learning to swim. From what I understand, it can be very difficult for adults to learn to swim. It's a real challenge. And she's from a desert world, so it's very doubtful she knows how to. Now she's on an island, surrounded by water. I think it would be in her best interest to learn to swim, for safety's sake. Finn. After his adventures using the lightsaber, Finn will come out of his coma believing that he is a Jedi. His challenge will be facing the reality that no, he's not a Jedi. He's just a former stormtrooper whose military training allowed him to wield the blade well enough not to have cut off his own limbs. That's it. Poe. He kindly gave up his jacket to Finn. No, keep it looks good on you. But little did we know, that jacket was to Poe as the security blanket was to Linus and the Peanuts. Poe is going to go through a traumatic break from his jacket. There will be depression, there will be anger, there will be cold sweats. There will be a montage where he tries on a dozen other jackets, but none of them will fill the void in his heart. But Poe, being the hero that he is, won't let on to his friends the suffering that he is going through, and he'll put on a very brave face. Luke. He's going to be faced with having to deal with a roommate. After being alone for so long, Luke has become used to his privacy, to having things his own way, not having to deal with other people's crap. But this experience has turned him into a curmudgeon, and now Rey is moving in, and he'll have to put up with her youthful energy. Think The Odd Couple, but instead of messy versus clean, it's old and grumpy versus young and bubbly. Kylo Ren. The itching and burning caused by his moving face scar will lead to more pain, suffering, and anger, which normally would fuel someone powerful on the dark side, but instead, it'll just cause a distraction for poor Ben Solo, so much so that he won't fully be able to come into his own as the real baddie that he wants to be, at least not in this episode. Captain Phasma. Hollywood loves to steal from other Hollywood movies, so in an homage to The Wizard of Oz, Phasma will be left out in the rain where she'll freeze up with rust. Her challenge? Getting her hands on that oil can. Oil can. General Hux. 3 words. Male pattern baldness. There's a reason his hair is so greased down. It's just a very intricate comb over. And sadly, his sense of self is too fragile to deal with this properly. Supreme Leader Snoke. We will learn that when he's not in hologram form, Snoke is actually only waist-high to Colonel Meebar Gascon from the Clone Wars, who's actually now a full-fledged Grand General in the First Order. And while Yoda taught us not to judge individuals by their size, well, you can imagine the issues Snoke has to face when inspecting all of the First Order troops. R2-D2. After being in hibernation mode for so long, R2 has a lot of work ahead of him catching up on all of his favorite podcasts. I'm sorry to say this audio obsession of his will once again keep him sidelined from the main story. BB-8. You know what? There's no challenges for BB-8. This little droid, he's one of a kind. He's so special, nothing can bring him down. C-3PO. Without his red arm, people won't recognize 3PO, and this will make him sad. Chewbacca. Chewie will inherit the Falcon, but he'll also inherit the second mortgage that Han had taken out on their flying home. In order to make some extra scratch so the Falcon doesn't get repossessed, he heads back to Mos Eisley to taxi passengers around the galaxy, like the old days. But this time around, he'll find out that Space Uber has put guys like him out of business. Maz Kanata. Her challenge will be getting fans like me to take her seriously. I'm sorry, I'm not a Maz fan. Okay, those are the challenges I foresee for our favorite Star Wars characters. What do you imagine is headed their way? I want to know. Email me at 12parsecs.podcast@gmail.com or connect with me on any of my social media accounts. All the links can be found on my website, 12parsecs.podcast.com. Thanks for listening. Utini!
Goodness! Han Solo! It is I, C-3PO. You probably don't recognize me because of the red arm.
You've been listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, part of the expanded Fandomverse network of shows. For links and show notes, visit our website, 12parsecsPodcast.com. Follow Less Than 12 Parsecs on Twitter at 12parpod, on Instagram at 12parsecsPodcast, on Tumblr at 12parsecsPodcast, and find us on Facebook as well. And please let us know what you think. Email us at 12parsecsPodcast@gmail.com.